Hello, this is Mark Wildman of Wildman Athletica, and today we are going to start talking about the order of operation of kettlebell learning. We have dug out chalkboard out of the barn here, and we are using my niece's sidewalk chalk. So classy. Chalk is so satisfying. We are talking about the order of operations of learning with kettlebells for Americans and Europeans for the most part. When we start learning kettlebells, we begin with strength training, which means 3 to 5 reps and add volume. That is because the kettlebell is a fixed weight. It is 16K, it doesn't become 16.5, it doesn't become 17, it is 16K. Most people start kettlebelling because it gets them out of a gym, which means they start with a limited number of weights. Usually one, and then we want people to build up to 3 to 5 weights. For men generally, we tend to start with 16K. If you have contraindicators or injuries, then that could be 12 or 14K. With ladies, we tend to start about 8K. I start with 8K because men tend to be bigger. Think of men being twice as big, that's a generalization. As women, the weights tend to be twice as big. So for men, I like 16, 20, 24K, and for ladies, I like 8, 10, and 12K. The problem with training ladies is that there's no 9K. So for men, we have an 18K, and we can go 16, 18, 20, 22, 24. For the ladies, we don't have a 9, and we don't have an 11. USA Kettlebell or somebody else solve that problem, give us those weights, make our math perfect. We tend to start with 3 to 5 reps because we are doing it as strength training. Most people have a weak link, even athletes, whether it's a shoulder, the left shoulder doesn't function well, the right knee doesn't function well. There is always a weak link. So we cannot jump to usually advanced types of kettlebell training. We have to go back and shore up a weakness, whether it be a joint or a movement pattern. A joint could be a shoulder, a wrist, an elbow, your left shoulder, your spine, your right knee, it doesn't matter. Almost everybody has one. Kettlebellers will usually bring people in and start teaching them a kettlebell swing pretty early on, and they will watch the feet, watch the knees, watch the hips. If the shoulders stack up wrong, if people can't stand up straight, if they can't drive their rib cage down, then we are definitely sticking with the 3 to 5 rep range, because not getting hurt is the most important part. We don't want to get hurt because that's not our job. Our job isn't to hurt people, our job is to help people. So we tend to stick to 3 to 5 reps. That is classic strength training numbers. I tend to like 5 reps. When training ladies, because we have fewer available weights, we might start at 3 reps, but guys could start at 3 reps too. It all depends. Finding our starting point is the hard part. We've done a bunch of videos on that. Go back, watch all of them. They're all the Nerd Math videos. We do our beginning strength training for our 6 fundamental exercises: our squat, our clean, our press, our snatch, our swing, and our Turkish get-up. We do those because if we practice those, we are kind of solve 90% of structural problems without really trying. We become balanced on the left side of our body with the right side of our body. Our weak side starts to fill in strength to our strong side, which is what usually hurts people. One side of their body is weaker, and that causes something to go out in their back or their spine. Think of this as usually taking about 3 years. For most people, you can go faster depending on how much time or money you have. If you have more time and more kettlebells, you can probably do this a little bit faster, and depending on how good your coach is at recognizing when you can skip certain steps or when you need to add steps. Normally, you're adding steps. Most people do not skip steps. I don't care who you are. I don't care. You're probably adding steps to the program. After that, we have what I like to call choose your own adventure. We have 2 paths that people tend to go on when they get beyond 3 to 5 years. Advanced strength training. They go to heavyweight. I'm considering heavyweight anything above 32K. Normally, our Nerd Math holds pretty solidly for men up to 32K or about 70 pounds. For the ladies, I think it holds up to about 16K, but I've seen ladies push it to 20K. I hate to say it, guys, women tend to be overall stronger than men pound for pound if they are trained correctly. Almost always true in my experience. So our advanced strength training means that we go back and we continue doing this. 3 to 5 reps of our fundamental 6 basic exercises with weights above 32K. The math can get a little bit different here because the size of hardstyle kettlebells changes drastically, and it changes the way that it puts pressure on the joints. So we might have to go down to sets of 2 or even sets of 1 and change it getting up here. It used to be the heaviest kettlebells available were 48K, which is absolute insanity. 48K is 106 pounds. That is a very heavy weight. Kind of most people don't really make it beyond the Bulldog, the 40K, and that's fine. Like if you get to the 40K for your basics of strength, you are doing very, very well. You're very strong, and you can do it all at home. So all bonuses. The other option is time under tension. This is the one that I'm doing right now. I did this for a long time and it was fun, but at a certain point you have these two options. You should probably do both of them. TUT, time under tension, which means that we're going to stick with medium weights and we are going to start doing it instead of 3 to 5 reps or 20 reps for swings. We're start pushing that further. We're going to start setting up and doing something for longer periods of time, usually starting around 60-second mark and then going to 90 seconds, 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes, building up to about 5 minutes between hand changes. 5 minutes between hand changes is rough. It takes a lot of mental focus, and you're going to spend a lot of time back with your very light weight. So if you're doing real big time under tension, you're going to go all the way back down to the 12K for men. Women might go back to the 6 or the 8K. That's fine. This one is probably what people are going to be doing in 2021. In all honesty, because kettlebells are not very available. Everybody's working out at home. So this is what we're going to talk about a lot moving forward in the future. We're going to talk less about this because this is really our basic nerd math that we've been doing with anything, just pushed into year 4. The heavy weights are available now. There are companies making weights greater than 48K, which sounds crazy. I haven't played with them yet because I don't have anywhere to put them right now. But I imagine we'll have to come up with some other strength training protocols, probably longer rest periods to get into those heavier weights. You're probably going to do it like they do with Olympic lifting or with powerlifting, and you're going to start pushing your break periods beyond 2 minutes into the 3 to 5 minute break period range with really, really, really heavy kettlebells. And that's totally fine. They're just different ways of doing it. Our time under tension, the simplest way to do it is start setting a clock for X amount of time and going for that amount of time. Most people are not used to this. And you're going to start with like 4 minutes, 1 minute left, 1 minute right, 1 minute left, 1 minute right. You're going to start with something simple, probably like cleans or swings, and you're going to move forward from there. The time under tension that we've talked about in previous Nerd Math videos has been 10 minutes. We have focused on 10 minutes, but we were kind of assuming that people would be able to go up in weight to get more work in the same amount of time. And this kind of holds up pretty well until about 32K as well, and then it starts to get dicey. I believe they are making 34K kettlebells now. I saw some advertised, but it was 32K to 40K a long time ago, and then they added in a 36. Now they have a 34, so you'll probably be able to make time under tension jumps differently that way. But if you can't get them, then we need to add more time to 10 minutes. We're going to start taking it 10 minutes, 12 minutes, 14 minutes. I'm personally shooting way above this. I'm shooting for 60 minutes. I'm shooting for 30 minutes on my heavy day, and I'm shooting for 60 minutes on my light day. There's a big discussion on light and heavy days in our Nerd Math section of videos. So we're going to talk a bunch about this. This is fascinating, and there's a bunch of ways to do this. So there's probably going to be several videos about this, but let's just start thinking about this order of operations for people learning. There is always some place to go. There are always options. You can either get heavier weights, you can add complexity, you can add sets. There's always something to do. Or you can add time under tension. Taking a light weight and holding it for 1 minute is not the same as taking a light weight and holding it for 10 minutes without putting it down. You can get a lot out of light weights if we start to understand this idea. This has been Mark Wildman of Wildman Athletica.